everyone. Today we are looking at TimeSplitters Future Perfect. Oh man, this game is it definitely makes me nostalgic for an era of gaming that was a little bit more simple, I guess you could say. What makes TimeSplitters very kind of, I guess, well known or famous, you could say, is the story in this game is pretty funny, kind of witty, and overall kind of a joke. But the gameplay itself is really like impressively good for an FPS. And if you were to basically imagine something like GoldenEye, and if someone had kept iterating on that FPS kind of style, that's what we would basically get in this scenario. And so you basically play as a time agent going through different locations, different kinds of weapons and time frames, World War II, the future, and different kinds of areas. And really, the story does not really matter. It is kind of comical and funny, but it's definitely one of the more lighthearted stories and campaigns I've played. But really, we're here for the really amazing gameplay. Again, I was always very surprised by how advanced and how good this game feels in terms of shooting, hitting walls, hitting targets, reloading. It feels very fluid. And again, even the hit markers and the health bars are very similar to GoldenEye. So again, it feels like if GoldenEye was iterated on for many years. Of course, this also had a multiplayer component to it. And again, this is a game that, because it had such a well-made FPS engine, I'm really just surprised how it didn't take off more than it did. I could see this being like a hugely successful franchise, and one of the big contenders with like Call of Duty and things like that. But for some reason, it just didn't take off in that way. Maybe because it was the campaign, maybe because it was the visual style of the game being a little bit more cartoony and abstract than a kind of realistic style game. But for whatever reason, I thought it was absolutely wonderfully created and crafted. Probably my favorite mission in this game is probably the alien disco. It just feels really like there's actual real funky music, and just all the weapons you get are just absolutely ridiculous. And again, the multiplayer in this game is also really well done. There's definitely been a lot of very also interesting weapons. Something I don't usually see in shooters that would maybe you'd think I should see are games, or rather weapons like a flare gun, which is a really cool one-hit weapon. This game also has some vehicle combat, or some very basic vehicles. They're not anything amazing, but they do basically work. And it is interesting to note that, because again, like franchises like Call of Duty have struggled to make vehicles work for quite a while in their games. But yeah, the sound design, the fluidity of the combat, the explosions. This game also obviously has a bunch of stealth sections, just like GoldenEye. We're going through a Russian base and stuff, and it does feel very well made. And again, it's kind of a surprise why this game didn't take off as much as it did. And so yeah, it's kind of a mixture of more of an old school feel for a shooter, but it feels really cool. But yeah, this game has a generic zombie map, a World War II map, a lot of kind of, tropey things. And maybe that's why it didn't really take off. It doesn't have a central identity. It's like, hey, here's some really good FPS gameplay, some really abstract future scenarios, but not really a cohesive idea or even story to go along with it. So that's the only reason I could imagine it. But from a pure gameplay perspective, and the story being kind of comical and silly, it's a pretty good game, and I really do enjoy it. And I wish that maybe I'd welcome another TimeSplitters sequel, I suppose, is what I'm saying. But anyway, that's pretty much it for this game. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.